Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about some of the members of the Southside Crips, like the ones that come to mind are Little Al, Orlando, of course, Big Dre, of course, and then even Keffe D, as far as if you had any interactions with him.
Well, you said Al first, and I'm glad you did because I go back with him since he was a baby. Um, his mother, Carrie Duro, worked for us, or worked with us, I should put it in that sense. Uh, she was a property officer for Compton PD for years. And so I knew her and then met Lil Al when he was a baby through Carrie. Matter of fact, at the time I didn't know it, but I subsequently found out that Lil Al, uh, Michael Duro Jr., he and Orlando Anderson, Baby Lane, were raised together because their mother were friends. Matter of fact, I remember my mother telling me about when they were like in twin strollers when they were babies. Orlando in one and Al in the other one with their mother and together. So when I found out that Al was hanging out in Southside with Orlando and them, I was a little surprised, wondering how they connected. But then I subsequently found out that they connected as babies. But both of them were active Southsiders. I mean, they weren't no joke. But again, not so much Orlando because I didn't know much about him. I knew of him and his family through my Edison days as well. But I didn't deal with him as much as I did with Al. Utmost respect. I mean, but they knew, even back like the ones I talked about before with gangster and all that, if they done something wrong and they were caught up in something, I would come after them, but I would deal with them in a decent way. So that relationship was okay. And like I said, with Orlando, I knew of him, but not much about him. The other Southsider that I was close to because of being raised around me in terms of off duty, so to speak, was Grim. Brim. I said Grim. Matter of fact, he was the first person, Big Brim, to get shot on that rivalry or that retaliation from the Tupac shooting in Vegas. When the Blood started retaliating, Brim was coming out of a store the next day after the shooting in Vegas. Him and walking out of a store, him and some little girl. I don't think she was with him. She just happened to be coming out the store at the time. And they shot Brim. I think they shot and killed that little girl or something. Reggie probably can help me to recollect that, but I don't really know if the girl died or what. But it was shooting involving Darnell Brim. I said Brim, but his name is Darnell Brim. Had a good relationship with him because, quite frankly, him and his sister, my wife, we had babysitted mainly the sister when they were like 10, 11 years old. Because matter of fact, his sister was a good friend of my daughter. So I knew these guys. So I always got it. But Brim was active, Darnell, and had those interactions with him. But you mentioned Keffe D. I knew of Keffe D, and I knew of his family. Same reason, my Edison days and all that. But I never had any interaction with Keffe D at all for the most part. I know we talked before in one of the podcasts or something where Keffe D said, I came to his house or something and he was standing out there and I don't know if he was talking about he could have offered me or wanted to or some mess he talked about. But till today, I still don't remember talking to him. I did go to his house right after all that shooting had occurred and the word on the street was they were going to take out Reggie because of his involvement or something in death row, and being out there when the shooting occurred and all that. I, at that time, was taken off of the case by the chief because there was a conflict in me remaining as a supervisor or something over the shootings that was going on because, of the conflict of Mob, Piruz, and Reggie in the Southsider. So I was working upstairs, but I heard it, that this rumor or whatever. So I beelined over, and I don't remember. I think I was in a plane car. I might have been in a patrol car because I had access to both, and got over to his house right quick because, as I said, I knew the family, And when I went over there to confront him about, I was looking for Orlando, to tell you the truth. So I could confront him about nothing better ever happened to Reggie, behind all whatever was going on. And I do remember when I got out the car, there was people outside, guys standing around the house. But I didn't fit, none of them was Orlando. I wouldn't knew Orlando. But like I said before, I wouldn't have knew Keffe D if he kissed me. I just didn't have no recollection. I know there were Southside guys out front. And I didn't recall saying anything to any of them because they weren't Orlando. I went straight to the house to go in the house to see if he was there or talk to his family, his mother, I believe was there at the time. I believe that's the female I talked to, as I recall, when I was let into the house. And I explained myself and explained my concerns about Reggie, and then I left. Now, going out of the house, I do remember talking to somebody out front, basically saying about Reggie, nobody better mess with Reggie or whatever, and got in my car and left. But that was the extent of it. I had no idea it was Keffe D until he started talking about it on some of his interviews or something. But I didn't have that much contact with Keffe D. I known him as the dope dealer because I know my narcotic guys, like Bobby Baker and them, was working him and some of the other guys from Southside that were involved in narcotics. That never was my main concerns.
Were there any other Southsides that stick out that maybe people aren't super familiar with as far as the whole Vegas
Well,
situation? Were there any older school ones?
Well, I started dealing with the Southsides when a lot of stuff was going on before the Tupac shooting, with the Southside, with Lando and Al, and even after the shooting that occurred in Vegas, Al and Orlando getting involved in the shooting where Orlando got killed. That was that. But the other person that was doing a lot of things with those two was Big Dre, who I've heard really believe that he was one of the passengers in the vehicle in the Cadillac when Keffe D got correction. I don't know why I said Keffe D, Lord. But anyway, Dre was in the car. Well, I know why I said Keffe D. I'm sort of recalling things as I'm talking to you, John. But Keffe D was also in the vehicle, the information that I gathered. But anyway, Big Dre, he was a real active guy. And I think in some statement, somebody saying Dre started the shooting first or something, and Orlando took the gun from him. I don't know how that went. I know Keffe D made some statements about what happened in the vehicle, but Big Dre was a character. I mean, and he was called Big Dre for a reason. I mean, this brother was every bit about 6'2", 6'3", if not bigger, in muscle. Wow. I used to call him Lando's bodyguard because every time you would see Lando, you would see Big Dre. So that's some of the guys on Southside.
Can you explain to me how Sergeant Bobby Baker found the car that the Southsides were supposedly driving, the white Cadillac, in Vegas when they shot at Tupac and Suge?
Okay. As I forestated, I was taken off of the direct street investigation of the shootings that were occurring as a result of the Vegas shooting. Sergeant Baker, Robert Baker, was more or less took my position as far as being the direct supervisor. And so he was getting a lot of information from Ladd and Brennan and Aguirre and Ray that was out there from our team, getting information on the shooter, the involvements and all that. Bobby Baker had an informant who came to him and told him that next day, described the vehicle that was used, the white Cadillac, kind of told him who was in it, and told him that they had rented it from an Enterprise car rental place, I think in Long Beach or North Long Beach somewhere. So Bobby sent one of the other investigators, I think it was Pilcher, Andrew Pilcher, or somebody, over to that rental car agency. And he did find paperwork of a vehicle that was a white Cadillac, was rented by Brown, the kid that was supposed to be driving the car. What was his name? T. Brown or something like that. He was the other fourth person that was supposed to be in the vehicle, but it was registered to his relative. I'm not sure if it was an aunt, or mother, or somebody. The car was ready, and Bobby had gotten all the paperwork and stuff showing that a connection with that white vehicle. And the informant also indicated that the vehicle had bullet holes in it, and it was kind of repaired at this body shop over here on Alondra and Washington, which the Southside, they would always be hanging up there. You know, they hang up, would be up there gambling, selling a little dope, whatever, at that body shop. So that was all the connection. It was subsequently turned over to Las Vegas PD, but their interest in what we gathered, that's a story for another day.